Okay, so somebody was actually asking me, is it okay for people, to keep arguing all the time? Like husband and wife, like co-workers, like this and that, maybe in church, or you're in a group, or you're in a unit, or you're in anything. And my answer has been that it is possible. My answer has been that it is right for you to argue, with people. Remember that at this particular moment, it's not everybody that will agree with you, and it is not everyone you are going to agree with. It is a fact that I feel you should know by now because we think differently. We don't think alike. In fact, if all of us think alike, we'll be running into trouble. That's why you find some relationships, you can find some places, maybe at work. I don't want to limit this to marriage and relationships all alone, but even at your workplaces, you'll find out that there are so many people there, people you're going to suggest good things to, but because they don't just like you, they wouldn't want that idea, to fly whichever way, no matter how good your idea is, especially if you're not in their good books. So it is quite possible and it is quite okay when we argue. Let's come back to the issue of relationships and stuff like that, and to the person who asked me this question, whether it is okay, to argue all the time in a relationship. And I said that it is okay for you to argue. Why? Because both of you are coming from different backgrounds. You are not the same. You were raised with different ideologies, orientations, by different parents who had actually come from different backgrounds too. So it is quite possible that you won't just agree on certain things. Now, your people, couples generally, or co-workers, or people who are working towards the same goal, they argue over a lot of things. It could be like over food, over ideas, over this and that. But in a relationship, even if you argue, sometimes I am so sure that you're not argue because of pillow, because of bedsheet, or duvet, or anything. You're arguing over some things. Maybe your ideologies are not just coming into tally. Both of you are not just reasoning together. Okay, let's send our child to this place. Some couples are just like, okay, let's wait after a year before we start raising children. The husband may say, no, I need to have children now. Or let's say the wife, really, because I know that women generally, once they get married, they want to start having babies so that they can, keep the whole relationship and stuff like that. But then let's come back to the fact that argument, is actually a bedrock of any relationship. Every relationship you have, everywhere that you find yourself, you will always pass through three stages. Let's come back to the home now. The first stage is that everything is rosy. That's the point where you use sweet words like honey, darling, okay, let's go clubbing, let's go and do this, let's go to this Christian club and let's have fun. That is when you buy her cars, she buys you gifts and stuff like that. You want to see him on daily basis, he wants to see you on daily basis, here and there. Both of you are just moving here and there. You want to make sure that the relationship is sealed, everything is fine. You see this stage, it's always very rosy. You don't ever envisage any issue or any matter whatsoever. Then, when you go with this for some time, then years in, year out, you're going to launch into the second phase. And this is when you now start seeing the lapses of the other person. All right. Right now, you're getting used to each other and stuff like that. You are now used to each other. So you now see the lapses of the other person. In some cases, while you were in the first phase, you may not know that she snores, or he snores. But in the second stage, you start realizing that she snores a lot and you can't really sleep. You may not know that he drinks, even though he's a Christian brother. You may not know that he drinks, but right now, you know that he drinks because now you're married, you are into deep relationship and every other thing. Then you start seeing the lapses of the guy. The guy does not stay at home, or he loves watching football. He goes all out in the night, here and there. Then you start complaining. Complaints will start coming in. I don't like this. I don't like that. Then she said, you too. I don't like you. If you want to go back, I think we should just stop all this. You see, this particular stage is where the test of time will come to your relationship with anybody. And it will definitely come. No matter what you do, no matter how careful you are, this second stage, where we all see that, in my country, they call it see finish because you see the other person, everything, all right? That this prayer does not stop this stage, and there is no amount of holiness that will stop this stage because it must come. We are all humans and we're social animals. We are actually living. No, the Bible describes us as small gods, but we live our lives in the society. So the reality comes to us. And remember that in between all these things, circumstances may change, issues may happen in such that maybe the wife does not have a job or the business of the husband is not picking. These are some of the issues that may crop up. So in this second stage, it's always the difficult time for people, to measure how strong, how deep the love is, and some other things like that. So if you cannot manage this situation, it is the dead end for most unions that we have all around. But this stage is with cooperation, unity, prayers, admonishing one another or each other with the word of God and stuff like that, and bringing in communication, understanding. I have one particular weapon I use, and that's communication. I like communicating things. Like, if anything is getting me bothered, I love to tell the other person, okay, I think this thing is this and these and these. I think you should also imbibe that. Always communicate to your partner. Tell him or her what you feel about a particular situation and stuff like that. So then the third stage, which is the last one, if you are able to survive the second stage, then you move to the last stage, which is where both of you have now come to understand each other. Like, you now understand, okay, if I shout at this person, he's going to shout back at me. So when he's shouting, I won't shout. You must have developed a kind of a template, to deal with all these things one after the other, one after the other. So you start understanding, each other gradually. Before you know it, both of you will now be like close pals that nobody could actually see in between or through you. So it's very important that you work on some of these things we can do without arguing with each other. But always remember that the aim of every argument is not for you to win, it is for the situation to be resolved. If you argue because you want to win, you will win, but you may not have the other person. All right. So if you argue, always have it at the back of your mind that you actually want this thing to be resolved, not because you want to win that argument. Ladies, generally, let me just advise you, when you argue with your guy and stuff like that, don't always argue because you want to win him, to win the argument rather, because if you win the argument, you may not win him again. Remember that every man has a kind of a red line, which is the ego, and it doesn't want you to cross that. So the last stage is always very important, and I hope that you get there, as you watching me. I'll be back in some of this series, and if you have any particular question or topic you want me to talk about, always get in touch with me. The address says there, Friends of Light is a Christian club, and we will be very glad to hear from you. My name is Seitayo Flourish. I'll see you in the next series. Bye.